who I can't even believe is a congressperson, between her and Ilhan Omar and the group. You know, I met the head of Somalia. Did you know that? And I suggested that maybe he'd like to take her back, and he said, I don't want her. Okay, what else?
U.S. President Donald Trump took a jab at Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar on Thursday, September 25th. Trump claimed he told Somali President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud to take her back after Omar's controversial remarks about the late conservative activist Charlie Kirk. I met the head of Somalia, did you know that? Trump said in the Oval Office. And I suggested that maybe he'd like to take her back. And he said, I don't want her. The comment drew laughter from those present, including Vice President J.D. Vance, FBI Director Kash Patel, and White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
Remember what I said? Is she a relation to the late, great Davy Crockett? I don't think so. Jasmine Crockett, let me tell you, before you even ask, she's a very low IQ person. I mean, if we ever had to pass an aptitude test, that's the one should take one, because she shouldn't even be in the crowd. So I have no idea what you're going to, but I don't think we should waste our time. This is a low IQ person who I can't even believe is a congressperson, between her and Ilhan Omar and the group. You know, I met the head of Somalia. Did you know that? And I suggested that maybe he'd like to take her back, and he said, I don't want her. Okay, what else?
Responding sharply to the comments Omar posted on X, from denying Somalia had a president to making up a story, President Trump is a lying buffoon. No one should take this embarrassing fool seriously. The exchange comes after widespread criticism of Congresswoman Ilhan Omar over her remarks following the fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk, the 31-year-old founder of conservative group Turning Point USA. Kirk was shot at an outdoor event in Utah on September 10th. A 22-year-old suspect, reportedly holding left-leaning views, has been charged with murder and other offenses. Omar sparked outrage by criticizing public tributes to Kirk. In an interview with Zeteo, she said, there are a lot of people who are talking about him just wanting to have a civil debate. These people are full of issues, and it's important for us to call them out while we feel anger and sadness. She later doubled down on CNN, adding, I'm not going to sit here and be judged for not wanting to honor any legacy this man has left behind. We should hopefully move on and forget the hate that he spewed every day. On social media, Omar called Kirk a stochastic terrorist and accused Democrats and celebrities of normalizing his legacy. Republican Representative Nancy Mace introduced a resolution to censure Omar for celebrating murder. The motion narrowly failed after 4 Republicans joined Democrats in voting it down last week. Omar also faced criticism from outside politics, with golfer Phil Mickelson writing on X, Ilhan spews hate every time she opens her mouth. She came here fraudulently and will hopefully be sent back to Somalia soon.
Last week in the Oval Office, I asked you about if Ilhan Omar should be censored. Congress censored her. I just want to get your reaction to that.
They did censor her. Good. When did this happen?
Yesterday.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I think she's terrible. I think she should be impeached. I think she's terrible. Was she originally from Somalia? So how are they doing it? How's their government? Do they have a president? Do they have a council? Do they have anything? Do they have police? I love these people that come from a place with nothing, no anything, and then they tell us how to run our country. No, I think if she got censored, that's great. If she got impeached, that's even better. They impeached me twice for nothing. And they impeached me knowing the Republicans are on my side, so they knew it was just, but they impeached me twice. She should be impeached, and it should happen faster. What she says is out of line. Yeah, go ahead. Anybody else?
Mr. President, would you like
Go ahead, Meg.
Mr. President, are you going to ask Brendan Carr to weigh in on other late-night hosts that you have perhaps?
Well, you know, when a late-night host is on network television, there is a licensing. I'll give you an example. I read someplace that the networks were 97% against me. I get 97% negative, and yet I won easily. I won all 7 swing states, popular, I won everything. And if they're 97% against, they give me only bad publicity or press. I mean, they're getting a license. I would think maybe their license should be taken away. It would be up to Brendan Carr. I think Brendan Carr is outstanding. He's a patriot. He loves our country, and he's a tough guy. So we'll have to see. But when you think about this, 97% of the stories are opposed to me, and yet I win easily the election. It's pretty amazing when you think of it. That shows they have no credibility. Go ahead.
I was just going to agree with. I mean, if you use that same logic with news.
You know, in the old days, I remember in the old days that every 4 or 5 years, a network would reapply for its license, and the license is free. You know, they get this valuable thing for free, and they'd reapply for a license. And if they did something wrong, well, I beat George Stephanopoulos, Slopadopoulos, I call him, George Slopada. They had to pay me $15 million for what he said. I beat CBS for much more money than that, including advertising and other things, much more money, because they totally changed the answer that Kamala gave on a question. I mean, they didn't change it. They took it out and put a different answer in. And they didn't want to go to court with that. That's a tough one to go to court with. So, no, I think that if you remember, years ago, I remember as a kid, they would file, it was a big deal every 4 or 5 years, and I don't know, you don't hold me exact, but it was like 4 or 5 years, they'd have to file for a license extension. I don't hear about that. The only one that I've heard even bring it up is Brendan Carr. I think Brendan Carr is doing a great job, and I think he's a great patriot.
Do you agree with Ryan? What do you think about the fact that you attend an event in England, a state visit, spectacular,
right,
and yet the Mayor of London can't be there?
I didn't want him there. I asked that he not be there. I don't want them. I think the Mayor of London, Khan, is among the worst mayors in the world. And we have some bad ones. If you look at Chicago, if you look at... But I think he's the equivalent of the mayor of Chicago. I think he's done a terrible job. Crime in London is through the roof. The Mayor of London, Mayor Khan, has done a terrible job. And on immigration, he's a disaster. No, I asked that he not be there. He wanted to be there, as I understand. I didn't want him. I've not liked him for a long time.